What happens to your brain and life when you become addicted to pornography? Before we jump into today's shocking exploration of pornography addiction and its devastating effects on the brain and relationships, smash that like button, share this video with someone who needs to hear this. Subscribe for more eye-opening content and drop your honest thoughts in the comments below. Have you or someone you know ever struggled with this? Let's talk. Did you know that recent studies suggest pornography addiction may be even more widespread and damaging than alcoholism? What if the flood of online porn over the last decade is silently rewiring millions of brains worldwide, making real intimacy feel impossible? How does this invisible epidemic sneak up on people, and what can be done to fight back? Introduction: the pornography epidemic and why it matters. The explosion of online pornography over the last 10 years is unlike anything previous generations faced. With easily accessible content on demand, from simple videos to high-intensity multi-person scenes, the landscape of sexual stimuli has radically changed. The consequences? A rise in pornography addiction, relationship breakdowns, and mental health crises affecting people as young as teenagers. Many experts now believe that pornography addiction is a growing public health crisis, potentially surpassing alcoholism and drug abuse in scope. This is not just about moral panic or generational fear. Neuroscience and psychology are increasingly revealing how porn reshapes the brain, affecting dopamine pathways, reward systems, and emotional regulation. But what exactly happens inside your brain when you become hooked on pornography? How does it affect your behavior, relationships, and sense of self? And most importantly, is recovery possible, or are you doomed once addicted? We'll explore these questions in detail. If you want to understand the real science behind porn addiction and learn how to protect your brain or help someone you care about, hit like, share with your community, subscribe for weekly updates, and comment below with your questions or experiences. The neuroscience of pornography addiction: how dopamine hijacks your brain. To truly understand the grip that pornography can have on the brain, we must first dive deep into the science of dopamine, often referred to by neuroscientists as the brain's motivation molecule, or pleasure chemical. Dopamine isn't about pleasure alone. It's about anticipation of reward, the drive to chase things that feel good, and the learning mechanisms that shape our habits and behaviors. Every time we experience something pleasurable, whether it's eating our favorite food, falling in love, playing video games, or achieving a goal, dopamine is released in our brain's reward circuitry, particularly in areas like the nucleus accumbens, ventral tegmental area, VTA, and prefrontal cortex. These areas form what's known as the mesolimbic pathway, the biological backbone of desire, craving, and reinforcement. Here's where it gets alarming. Pornography doesn't just activate this system, it hijacks it. Unlike natural rewards, which offer a gradual and emotionally integrated dopamine response, pornography delivers a fast, intense, and artificial flood of dopamine. This is especially true with what neuroscientists now call supernormal stimuli. These are exaggerated versions of natural rewards, and high-definition, taboo, or violent pornography fits the bill perfectly. Scenes featuring multiple partners, aggressive behaviors, or unrealistic fantasies flood the brain with more dopamine than what real-world intimacy can produce. Dr. Valerie Voon, a leading neuroscientist from Cambridge University, has found that the brains of compulsive porn users show similar activity patterns to those of cocaine addicts when exposed to pornographic material. It's not about weak willpower, it's about neurochemical dependency. Repeated exposure to this overstimulation leads to neuroadaptation, meaning your brain starts adjusting to this new normal. Over time, the dopamine receptors become less sensitive, forcing users to seek more extreme or novel content just to feel the same level of arousal or satisfaction. This is the same process we see in heroin or meth addicts. It's called tolerance, but it gets even worse. When dopamine is consistently hijacked, the brain's baseline levels of motivation and pleasure start to drop. Everyday activities, like talking to someone, reading a book, going out with friends, or even hugging a partner, no longer feel rewarding. This is known as reward deficiency syndrome, RDS, and it's a hallmark of behavioral addiction. People may still function on the outside, but inside they feel dull, disconnected, and emotionally flat. Think about it. A person who once found joy in romantic touch now finds human intimacy boring compared to the intense digital fantasy. What was once fulfilling becomes mundane. That's not just psychological, it's neurological desensitization. Let's consider a real-life example that illustrates just how destructive this can be. John's story, a wake-up call from digital dependency. John, a 28-year-old software engineer, first encountered online porn at age 13. What began as innocent curiosity quickly became a daily habit. By his early 20s, John wasn't just watching porn. He was chasing the most extreme versions he could find. Videos that once satisfied him no longer worked. He needed more graphic, more taboo, and more violent material to feel the same arousal. This escalation came with devastating side effects. His long-term relationship began to suffer. He reported feeling emotionally distant and disinterested during sex. He couldn't climax without thinking about pornographic scenes. Eventually, his girlfriend left, saying she felt like she was competing with a screen. John spiraled into a deep depression, losing confidence, connection, and meaning in his personal life. It wasn't until he hit rock bottom that he sought help. Through cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, support groups, and a deliberate effort to detox from digital stimuli, John slowly began to heal. His recovery wasn't just about quitting porn, it was about retraining his brain to feel pleasure again from real-life connection. John's case is not unique. In fact, similar patterns have been observed across thousands of recovery forums like NoFap, Reboot Nation, and clinical rehab centers that now treat pornography addiction with the same seriousness as substance abuse. Leading sex therapist Dr. Paula Hall, who has worked with hundreds of clients suffering from porn-induced sexual dysfunction, notes, "We're seeing a growing number of young men unable to perform sexually with real partners, not because of physical issues, but because their arousal template has been rewired by unrealistic porn." Another major concern is the impact on mental health. A number of studies, including those published in journals like JAMA Psychiatry and Frontiers in Psychology, have linked high porn consumption to anxiety, depression, social withdrawal, and even sexual dissatisfaction, particularly in men. Some studies have shown that the more porn someone consumes, the less satisfaction they report in real relationships. So what does all this mean? It means pornography isn't just a harmless habit. For many people, especially those consuming it regularly and in high doses, it's a neurological trap. A trap that reshapes your desires, numbs your natural capacity for joy, and leaves you increasingly isolated. But here's the good news. The brain is plastic. Just like it can be rewired into addiction, it can also be rewired for recovery. Through abstinence, mindful habits, real human connection, physical exercise, and therapy, individuals can begin to reset their dopamine system, a process known as neuroplastic healing. The most important takeaway? You're not broken. You're just caught in a biological feedback loop. And with awareness, effort, and the right environment, you can reclaim your brain and your life. The cultural shift. Why science struggles to keep up. One challenge in addressing porn addiction is that science has lagged behind cultural change. The explosion of internet porn is recent, but rigorous scientific studies take years to conduct. This gap means many early research efforts underestimated the problem or normalized behaviors that are actually harmful. For decades, academic studies on sexual behavior tended to minimize risks, sometimes due to political or social reasons. But in the last 5 years, research has increasingly revealed troubling links between heavy porn use and mental health issues, including anxiety, depression, erectile dysfunction, and relationship problems. The rapid diversification of porn platforms like OnlyFans and AI-generated content also complicates the picture, giving unprecedented access to personalized, high-intensity porn that can accelerate addiction. If this video is helping you understand the depth of this crisis, please like and share it to spread awareness. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into brain health and behavior, and comment below. Have you noticed these changes in yourself or others? How pornography addiction manifests. Beyond the brain chemistry, porn addiction doesn't just alter brain chemistry, it impacts every facet of life. The compulsive nature of seeking porn often leads to social isolation, avoiding friends and family to spend more time online, relationship breakdowns, unrealistic expectations and diminished intimacy cause conflicts and breakups, mental health decline, increased rates of anxiety, depression, and low self-esteem, performance issues. Many men report erectile dysfunction linked to porn-induced desensitization, time and productivity loss. Hours lost daily to porn can affect career and personal goals. The role of neuroplasticity. Why youth are most vulnerable from birth to about age 25. The brain is incredibly plastic, meaning it's shaped significantly by experiences. Pornography's impact on young, developing brains is particularly concerning. Scientific studies dating back to Nobel-winning research on brain plasticity have shown that early, repeated exposure to intense stimuli can create long-lasting wiring changes. In other words, young brains exposed to high-intensity porn are being trained to expect unrealistic sexual stimuli. This can permanently raise the threshold of what feels sexually stimulating, making normal intimacy feel boring or inadequate. For teens and young adults growing up with unlimited internet porn, this may explain rising reports of sexual dysfunction and relationship dissatisfaction. Dopamine reward prediction. Error, the trap of unrealistic expectations. One fascinating but devastating aspect of addiction is the dopamine reward prediction error. When the brain expects a big reward but gets less than anticipated, dopamine levels crash, leading to frustration and despair. An example from popular culture is the TV show Succession, where a kid expecting $1 million prize ends up with a watch. The letdown causes a dopamine crash and emotional distress. Porn addiction works similarly. Users chase an escalating dopamine high, but are repeatedly let down by real sexual encounters, which don't deliver the high promised by porn. This leads to dissatisfaction, hopelessness, and sometimes depression. Are you learning something new? Don't forget to like this video, share it to help others understand, subscribe for weekly updates, and comment your thoughts or struggles below. Your voice matters. Is recovery possible? Strategies to overcome porn addiction. Despite the alarming neuroscience, recovery is absolutely possible. Many people have overcome porn addiction with a combination of approaches: awareness and education. Understanding the brain mechanisms helps reduce shame and builds motivation. Behavioral changes, limiting access to porn, developing new hobbies, and social support. Therapy. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, has shown strong effectiveness in helping rewire addictive behaviors. Mindfulness and meditation. Techniques that increase present moment awareness, reduce compulsive urges. Medical support. In some cases, medication may help with underlying depression or anxiety. John's story mentioned earlier is a hopeful example. After professional help and lifestyle adjustments, he rebuilt healthy relationships and restored his emotional well-being. The importance of open conversation and breaking stigma. A major barrier to recovery is stigma. Porn addiction is often kept secret due to embarrassment and shame, which only deepens isolation. Promoting open, honest conversations about porn use and its risks can encourage people to seek help earlier. Families, educators, and healthcare providers must foster environments where these topics are destigmatized. Conclusion: the hidden crisis demanding our attention. Pornography addiction is a silent epidemic with serious consequences for individuals and society. It hijacks brain chemistry, alters neural pathways, damages relationships, and erodes mental health. But knowledge is power. With growing scientific understanding and awareness, more people can break free from addiction's grip and reclaim fulfilling, intimate lives. If you or someone you know struggles with pornography addiction, know that help is available and recovery is possible. If this video opened your eyes, please hit like, share it with your friends or family, Subscribe for more important health content and comment below your thoughts or questions. Your participation helps build a community of support and understanding. Thank you for watching. Take care of your brain and your heart.